Pernell Whitaker first captured the public eye while still an amateur in the Los Angeles Olympics, where he won the lightweight gold medal. His pro career started with a flourish, but was marred by injury. First, a broken ankle, then in this fight against John Mates in March of '86, Pernell broke a bone in his left hand with that awkwardly landed punch. The injury has been a recurring problem, and it was thought it might slow his progress. But none of that was evident when he fought former champ Roger Mayweather, knocking him down early in the fight en route to a unanimous decision win to keep his undefeated record intact. For Jose Luis Ramirez, it took a knockdown over the great Alexis Arguello in Jose's 70th fight to make the public aware of his ability. And it wasn't until his 87th pro fight that he earned a title shot against Edwin Rosario. Jose lost a bitterly contested decision, and in the rematch in November of '84, it started out as if it would be no different. Floored by Rosario in rounds 1 and 2, Jose came storming back, and in round 4 turned matters completely around as he battered the champion from all angles, until the referee was forced to stop it. The next year he lost the decision and the title to Hector Camacho, but he fought on and eventually regained the title. Then here in his first defense, stopping Cornelius Boza Edwards in round 5. Their paths were to cross in March of 1988. Ramirez, a veteran of 106 professional bouts, Whitaker only 15. The scene was a huge tent erected in the Parisian suburb of Levallois-Perret. Ramirez defended his WBC crown in a controversial fight against the American. The fighters describe what happened.
In that first round, I still remember, you know, hitting him with the hard jab and seeing how easy it was to hit him. And then I even did a little dipsy-do move and came back and hit him, scored on him. So I said, this is going to be an easy night. I'm going to be world champion when I step out of the ring. Fourth round, I broke my hand, and when I hit him on top of the head, I felt the right thing. And I broke my hand before, so I felt that I knew the hand was broke. Round 5 was impressive. 6, I think they gave him 6, but they didn't really want to give him 6. You know, they say Ramirez looked good, but all the rounds were close. If I didn't dominate him, they could have went either way. Round 7, I feel he won round 7. I feel, you know, that's because I had got my first 6, and then I started coasting.
It appeared to this point that Whitaker was well ahead, despite hurting his hand, as he said in round 4. Pernell had used his speed and agility well, outboxing and outmaneuvering the slower champion early. But Ramirez was narrowing the gap as the fight wore on. Whitaker appeared to be taking a breather in the middle rounds as the champ bored forward and chased the American relentlessly. And on the scorecards, it was much closer than Pernell had figured, though Ramirez felt he was always in control.
It's much more difficult now when the other does not present himself to fight very easily. To keep him on the ropes, he's very elusive. I did everything possible, but I could not block his exits. Like you see him, he runs backwards, and when we're in an embrace, he holds me and sometimes grabs my hand.
Going into the final rounds, the title was up for grabs. And in the corner before the 12th and final round, trainer Lou Duvick sorted his fighter on.
Hey, want to be champion of the world, baby? We need this round 3 minutes, baby. You're the sexiest guy in the world. Now let me see you go out there and take this guy.
1 round to go, 3 minutes. I was thinking about just flight back at that moment, get my belt, and I'm out here. Give me the world title, and I'm going back to America and get this belt to my American people.
The fight was over, and as bedlam in the ring ensued, the controversy would soon begin, as Whitaker listened in stunned disbelief when he learned he lost.
My impression was that he called himself robbed, that he did nothing to win. He only fought to obtain a decision, nothing else. That for a championship, he did not do anything.
How can a guy fight as hard as I fought, train as hard as I trained for that fight, and have a blow served to me that way? It's deep. And when I went down, I just went down with the thought of maintaining peace and representing your country.
The The post-fight embrace was not a port of things still to come. The fireworks were just beginning. Suits and countersuits flew back and forth between the WBC and the Duvas. They have since been settled out of court. One thing for sure, though, has happened in the interim. The fortunes of these two fighters have definitely changed. In February of this year, Pernell Whitaker became the IBF lightweight champion by virtue of a unanimous decision victory over champ Greg Haugen, seen here being floored by Pernell in round 6. Then in his first title defense, Whitaker took on undefeated challenger Louis Lamelle. A left in round 3 effectively crushed the chances of the challenger, for even after he gamely arose, it was only a matter of time before Pernell put the finishing touches on a job well done. For Jose Luis Ramirez, his next fight saw his title slip away into the hands of fellow countryman Julio Cesar Chavez. Then, while training for today's rematch, his manager, trainer, father figure, and friend, Ramon Felix, who had guided him to 2 lightweight titles, drowned in a swimming accident. Jose was crushed, but since the funeral, he has vowed to win the title time in Ramon's memory. Alex, you have to wonder that there's just absolutely no way that what happened to tragedy to Ramon Felix cannot affect Jose Luis Ramirez. How big of a role do you think it's going to play today?
Well, it's really impossible to assess it. It is inconceivable that for a fighter who puts as much of his heart and his soul into boxing as Jose Luis Ramirez does, that his heart would not have been affected by the loss of Ramon Felix. His training stopped at a crucial time, but his people are adamant that he is in outstanding physical condition. Mentally, Jose has always been totally focused on the task at hand. And Dan, I just have to believe that that focus has to be effective.
All right, we've talked about the styles and the contrast of the two fighters. Let's boil it all down to today's fight specifically. Strategy, what do you see unfolding?
Well, Jose Luis Ramirez is only 30 years old, but in boxing terms, he's an old man, and I don't think there are going to be any new tricks from Jose Luis Ramirez. He cannot outwit Pernell Whitaker. His only hope is to cut off the ring, which he didn't do in the first fight, and keep throwing punches as hard as he can for as long as he can. Pernell Whitaker, however, insists that he has learned some new tricks since his first fight with Ramirez, when he backed up almost from the opening bell and throughout the fight. He says he'll be in punching range of Ramirez most of the time, not running away, relying on his upper body movement and some lateral movement to avoid the Ramirez power.
There is the challenger today, Jose Luis Ramirez, making his way into the ring here at the Scope in Norfolk, Virginia. The former 2-time world lightweight champion, and in his dressing room, waiting to make his entrance where the crowd will most certainly go wild, is Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker. Coming up after this break, we'll have Whitaker's entrance. Stay with us.
Schlitz Malt Liquor Professional Boxing. Brought to you by Schlitz Malt Liquor. No one does it like the Bull.
Pernell Whitaker enters the ring here in Norfolk, Virginia. More reminiscent of Julius Caesar entering Rome than a boxer entering the ring, Alex.
Maybe just a gladiator.
Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker. He is the franchise here in Norfolk. Jose Luis Ramirez today fighting his 110th professional fight. Right now, let's go up to the ring, and there's announcer Bruce Rader.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Bruce Rader. Welcome to the Scope in Norfolk for the rematch. Our referee today, Mr. Chris Wollison. Our judges from London, England, Sid Nathan and Larry O'Connell, and from Puerto Rico, Miguel Donate. This is a main events monitor production. A 12-round of boxing for the World Lightweight Championship. And now, introducing the principals. Fighting out of the red corner from Culiacan, Mexico. He has an outstanding record of 102 wins, 82 by way of knockout with only 7 defeats. He weighed in at 134 pounds and will be wearing the red trunks with the white trim. Let's welcome to Norfolk the former 2-time world lightweight champion, Jose Luis Ramirez. And his opponent, fighting out of the blue corner, representing his hometown of Norfolk, Virginia, he has 18 wins in 19 professional bouts. He weighed in at 134 3/4 pounds and is wearing the black trunks with the gold trim. Introducing the former Olympic gold medalist and Norfolk's own Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker.
There are the judges that will handle the fight here this afternoon. And let's go to the tail of the tape now, if we could. And, of course, I think the number that sticks out here, as Alex mentioned early, Ramirez at 30 years of age, but really a very old 30 with those 109 professional bouts. The rules for today's fight will be the WBC rules. Scoring is on the 10-point must system. No 3 knockdown rule, no standing 8, and a fighter can be saved by the bell, but only in the final round. On the left, wearing the black trunks, Pernell Whitaker. On the right, Jose Luis Ramirez, wearing the red with the white trim. Chris Wollison, our referee here today, and the fighters get their instructions.
I'm waiting for the signal. Gentlemen, you've been given your pre-fight instructions. I expect you to obey my commands at all times. Above all else, protect yourselves at all times. Shake hands. Good luck. Seconds down.
And Alex, Whitaker's people, the people of Norfolk, but especially Pernell Whitaker, have waited for this moment for a long time.
And you saw George Benton, the man right there with his elbow on the ropes there in the center of your screen. George Benton, the last thing he said to him when we looked at him was, keep your hands up. The Ramirez main weapon is power. When you have Pernell's speed of hand and feet, he can dance circles around him early. It's a matter if he can sustain it.
And something you don't see very often, 2 southpaws fighting one another. It's not that often you see one southpaw in a fight, much less 2.
Well, in the old days, you never, it was really difficult for southpaws to get fights, and you never saw 2 of them. This is really almost started out in the 1960s, and in the 80s, it really is not that uncommon.
Pernell Whitaker in the first bout with Ramirez fought going backwards, gave a lot of ground, thought that was a mistake, changed his style for both Greg Haugen and Louis Lamelli, and you see Whitaker now staying right in the center of the ring and landing a couple solid blows on Ramirez.
Jose Luis Ramirez has been vulnerable early. When he's been hurt, generally it has been early.
And the good right jab there from Whitaker scores again. Oh, and Whitaker. Pernell Whitaker giving no ground, staying right in the middle of the ring. A low blow from Whitaker. The left came in and clearly under the belt. Again, the jab of Whitaker seems to be getting over Ramirez's glove. Oh, and a good left. And it's target practice so far in round one by Pernell Whitaker.
You must remember that Jose Luis Ramirez is a target that can also hit back. The difference between these two fighters, Dan, is that Pernell says, I think defense first. I make sure I can't be hit, then I let my hands go. Jose Luis Ramirez disdains defense. He's always looking to hit you on the chin. If he has to get hit in return, so be it. Right now, he is getting hit, and he's getting hit with good, sharp punches from Pernell Whitaker.
You mentioned Ramirez, rather. I was going to bring up the slow start he got off to against Rosario, where he was knocked down in the first round and came back to win. But look at Whitaker. You saw the head of Ramirez snap back. Oh, now
something's wrong. He got butted. Pernell is complaining about a butt high on his forehead. There is no cut.
But actually, it was Whitaker that went in.
Right.
It was Whitaker that went in with the shot to the body that caused the butt.
Must have bothered him. He's right back to business, though.
Pernell Whitaker clearly in command in round number one.
On the top left of your screen, take a look at the butt. Whitaker moving in with his head there. It was not Ramirez's fault, but Pernell took the beating on the butt.
It opened no cut. It was a glancing blow, but the way Whitaker originally backed out of there, we thought it was a lot more than that. This is the opening action in round number two from the scope in Norfolk for the IBF and the WBC lightweight titles. And Pernell Whitaker in total command of round number one. George Benton, his trainer, was right to the point. Said, just keep doing what you're doing, Pernell. He can't touch you.
And he said all night long. And I think that really is the key to the fight. If Pernell can continue to maintain this and not let fatigue make him lead him into a mistake, you know, I think he's just an easy winner.
Another left scored from Whitaker. He set it up with a right to the body.
Sometimes when you're hitting an opponent this easily, you tend to lose your concentration. You might get a little lazy, might be tempted to make a mistake, and Pernell Whitaker cannot let that happen. There, the feet got tangled up.
That's not going to be a knockdown. That's a slip. You saw Evander Holyfield, Mark Freeland, there in the insert. Mildred Taylor here as well. All of them escorting Pernell Whitaker into the ring.
Yeah, for the first time, Ramirez backed Whitaker up with a flurry, and Pete came right back. We say Pete, that's Pernell Whitaker's nickname, known by everybody in Norfolk as Pete.
Oh, and a good left. The jab didn't score, but the left from Whitaker really rocked Ramirez. And Ramirez with his gloves at a level where Whitaker's getting right over the top of them. A pair of jabs. Just score easily.
In the first fight, it was the movement by Whitaker that confused Ramirez. Right now, it's the speed and the punching from angles.
Well, Alex, this is the third time that we've seen Pernell Whitaker this year. And the way he started off just is asserting to our viewers what you and I have known for a long time. Pernell Whitaker, one of the top 5 fighters in the world, in my estimation.
Well, these are the kind of tests he must pass to really, you know, he told us, Dan, that he doesn't really think about that kind of a thing, but obviously all of us are. We're trying to assess how great this kid can be. And Ramirez is a good test for him to see, you know, if he can fight this kind of a style, an aggressive, more aggressive style for him, and not get hit.
Well, it's Jose Luis Ramirez just eating rights and lefts from Pernell Whitaker. Round number 2, very reminiscent of the first round. And that means one thing to the delight of the people here at the Scope in Norfolk. It's all Pernell Whitaker. Action early here in round number 3 in Norfolk, Virginia. Dan Deerdorf, Alex Wallow with you. Pernell Whitaker and Jose Luis Ramirez. And Whitaker, Alex, just couldn't do anything much better than he's doing.
And that's what George Benton told him in the corner. He beat him with one word: perfect. In the Ramirez corner, they're telling him to go to the body. And he should go to the body, but that was more important in the first fight when Whitaker was moving so much. To take the movement away. Right now, you know, Pete's movement has been mainly forward.
Another low blow by Whitaker. It's his second one so far, and Chris Wallison, the referee, hasn't said anything to him yet. Ramirez doesn't appear to have been damaged outwardly by what's happening so far. And
the amazing thing about Jose Luis Ramirez is he hasn't been damaged by 106 professional fights. I mean, he's virtually unmarked.
Oh, look at the hand speed by Whitaker. A 4-punch combination, all scoring. And Ramirez can't even get back in time. This fight is scheduled for 12. This is the 3rd round. Approaching the halfway mark of round number 3. And Ramirez, Alex Wallow, is going to have to shift gears in a hurry.
Or hope that Pernell Whitaker strips his gears.
I don't know that I would count on that if I was Ramirez.
The one thing you always look for with Pernell when you've had 2 broken left hands is he using the left hand? So far he is, and using it to great effect. The right jab, I think really, as you see there, doubling with it, has been the punch that everything is worked off of. Whitaker really has one of the outstanding jabs in boxing.
Again, look at Whitaker's ability to throw combinations. This superb hand speed. Of course, I remember the hand speed Terry Norris showed us a couple of weeks ago. And then Julian Jackson drops the bomb.
Exactly. I made a note. When we were conceding the fight to Whitaker in the last round, I wrote a note to myself, Terry Norris. Because Terry Norris totally dominated Julian Jackson, as you say. In round 2, the boom was lowered on him. Right now, you have to land the boom.
That right from Whitaker got in. And right now, Jose Luis Ramirez is looking a thoroughly frustrated fighter.
He must have prayed, Jose Luis Ramirez, in his training that Pernell Whitaker wouldn't run as much, because the movement bothered him, Jose so much in the first fight. Pernell's just standing right there, but Jose can't hit him. Just enough movement to stay out of trouble. And enough punches of his own to keep Ramirez in trouble.
Like the first 2, not much change in the 3rd. Here we go into the 4th round, and George Benton, who ought to know, told Pernell Whitaker in between rounds, Ray Robinson couldn't do it any better than this. Some compliment.
George, a little carried away, but you have to indulge him in this instance.
Jose Luis Ramirez has not yet landed what you would call a meaningful blow in this fight. And the combinations of Pernell Whitaker are just getting through easily. The hand speed right now appears to be more than Ramirez can handle. There is Ravonda Whitaker, Pernell's wife. They have a pair of sons as well, Dominique and Pernell. And she doesn't look to be the least bit concerned, and no wonder. She's paying close attention to what's happening. Pernell Whitaker with the jab, then follows with the left, that again gets through and rocks Ramirez.
Again, a right hand low by Pete Whitaker, Pernell Whitaker. And another one. One of the natural tendencies, Dan, is to compare Whitaker's performance against Jose Luis Ramirez with that of Julio Cesar Chavez. Ramirez and Chavez fought last year, and I must say, this may not be the same Ramirez that fought Chavez, especially given the loss of Ramon Felix, which we talked about earlier, but Ramirez is much more dominant. Whitaker is much more dominant than Chavez was against Ramirez.
We'd like to alert our ABC stations that at the conclusion of this round that we'll be taking a station break. Whitaker, Alex, throwing lots of combinations, lots of low blows as well. It's not an intentional thing, but he's landed at least 4 or 5 low blows that I've seen. And Chris Wallison, the referee, hasn't even
one warning. Yeah, one warning. Another right there.
I mean, Ramirez is going to have a legitimate beef if this is allowed to continue.
It does not appear, we must say, it does not appear to be a factor in the fight. I mean, you could throw out all those low blows. They aren't helping Jose Luis Ramirez.
No, but it's
there. Ramirez backs Whitaker up and forces him into some movement.
It's just a question of what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. Now, what Ramirez can't handle is the hand speed.
And the angle. And the fact that Pernell moves his head well, moves his upper body well. Even when he's standing right there that close, Ramirez just can't land anything. Oh, an uppercut. He landed a right uppercut that time.
Very, very frustrating for Jose Luis Ramirez. That's because through 4 rounds, Slits Malt Liquor Professional Boxing will continue after this word from our ABC station. The first 4 rounds being totally dominated by Pernell Whitaker, but we'd really be remiss if we didn't mention the fact that Jose Luis Ramirez is also trying to battle through the loss of his best friend, his father figure, his trainer, and his manager just 2 weeks ago when Ramon Felix drowned at their training facility near Casablanca. Alex, that has to have an effect. Ramirez just looking totally frustrated and out of it.
You see the black bow on the right hip of Jose Luis Ramirez. It's very difficult to really tell whether this is, I mean, this is a great Whitaker, and it's difficult to know how much this is great Whitaker and how much it's bad Jose Luis Ramirez.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's no way that you could detract from Whitaker's performance. That's not possible. He looks the same as he's looked against Greg Haugen, against Louis Lamelli. It's a new Pernell Whitaker in the middle of the ring. And right now, another low blow, but still, scoring combinations from Pernell Whitaker.
You saw the heart of Ramirez firing back at the end of that combination. Whatever he has, he's going to give. At this stage, it's just not even close to being enough.
Wild left from Ramirez, misses.
A little bit closer, I think, Dan, than some of the early misses. And that's really Ramirez's only hope. His corner told him between rounds, where's that jab, Lou Goodwood might have heard him in the background. And there you see, there the jab is.
Just eating Whitaker's jabs. Not even getting a glove up to defend himself. Now, that's either poor defense or he's not afraid of the jab, one or the other.
Or he doesn't, you know, yeah, I think it's just mainly he just can't get out of the way of it.
Inside the last minute of round number 5.
I was saying the Ramirez corner told their man between rounds really the only hope that they can give him, and that is that Whitaker's breathing through his mouth. He's tired. Probably wishful thinking, probably trying to keep their fighter as much in the fight as they can. And you see him fighting back. Ooh, inside left by Whitaker.
Pernell Whitaker has thrown beaucoup punches so far in this fight. You see the mouth hanging open a little bit, and Whitaker breaking the exchanges now and getting a little more distance and buying a little more time, Alex.
Right.
When he breaks, he's turning his back and walking to the other side of the ring.
Carrying his hands a little bit lower when he does move away, too.
But taking a little time off, sign of a smart fighter. This is the end of the 5th round. Stop! Whitaker Ramirez touch gloves to get the 6th round started. No question, a tremendous amount of respect that these two have for one another. Pernell Whitaker has a historical sense of what's happened before him, and certainly in the lightweight division, Jose Luis Ramirez is a figure to be admired and respected.
Yeah, he's earned it.
With this being Whitaker's 20th fight, the thought of fighting another 90 to catch up with Ramirez somehow must seem very foreign to Pernell Whitaker.
Don't lay it out there. Snap it, snap it.
The combinations, a 5-punch combination that time by Pernell Whitaker. Again, a good look how Whitaker is turning his shoulder and walking away.
He's getting, Ramirez is getting a little bit closer now, Dan. I mean, maybe we're just kidding ourselves and looking to make this thing competitive, and it isn't. I mean, it's been a total shutout so far through 5 rounds. I mean, if there's any one of these judges who has any of these rounds, even or for Ramirez, they should lose their license immediately and walk home.
I agree.
Another
low blow. Ooh, a pair of uppercuts by Whitaker. Neither one of them really landed solidly, but they both got through. Now again, we must remind you that even though Whitaker is having target practice with Ramirez, Ramirez doesn't show any outward signs of the beating that he's taking.
And that's really remarkable and a testament to his determination. And I mean, I know Pernell Whitaker, another low blow by Whitaker. I know Pernell Whitaker is wondering, you know, about his own punching power. I mean, here this guy has absorbed enough punches for 3 fights through 5 rounds.
Well, no one can ever question the chin of Ramirez, although Whitaker tried with those pair of flicking jabs that scored. Keep in mind, he has been knocked down, but Ramirez has never been knocked out. Has never been knocked out.
Never taken a 10 count.
Extraordinary. The key for Pernell Whitaker right now is to remain patient. He's winning this fight, we must assume, handily on the scorecard. He might be becoming frustrated and not really doing any more damage, Alex, but to get reckless would be a mistake.
Right. I think also a key is for him to make sure he paces himself and keeps his energy level up.
Oh, and a really, really solid left from Whitaker. We're going to stay between rounds. This fight is scheduled for 12. The bell will be the end of round 6, and we'll keep it here.
Not even breathing hard. I mean, as Pernell walks back the corner, let's listen.
You're doing beautiful out there.
Man, you're doing it to death. That's perfect. Just keep doing what you're doing. Look, don't get careless. Don't get in no exchange with him. Don't let him suck you in or nothing. Do just what you're doing, right? That's the best boxing exhibition that I've seen in
a hell of a show on. Robinson couldn't do as good as
they don't need it.
Ray Robinson couldn't do as good as this, baby. You're
you
beautiful
just
out
keep
there.
Don't even worry about knocking the guy out. You know, I like this better. You understand? Look, I don't know what the hell the referee's brave. That's a brave referee. He's letting this guy go. He should have stopped this fight a year ago.
Right up here.
But just keep
doing what you're doing.
Take a look at one of the many low blows that we talked about during this fight. Pernell Whitaker backing up and steps in there to the left hip of Ramirez, and there was no warning coming back that time from the referee.
We listened to Lou Duva and George Benton lead the Pernell Whitaker Cheering Society in the corner, and they're right. They don't have anything constructive to add other than you heard Benton say, don't get careless.
The Ramirez corner, the most constructive thing they could come up with was step on his foot, then hit him with your right. Which is an actual bit of strategy that was given to him in the corner.
A lunging combination by Ramirez didn't even come close. That's not going to be a knockdown. He pushed him down. You saw Whitaker's hand on the back of the head of Ramirez. I guess that evens it up. Both fighters have been down on the canvas once, but neither one was a knockdown.
Looking on, the junior welterweight champion, according to the IBF of the world, Meldrick Taylor, and some people think, oh, you see the reaction. Then Mark Breland in the picture as well. Members of the class of 1984 Olympians that have produced really some outstanding fighters. A lot of people, along with Evander Holyfield, who's here as well. A lot of people think that Whitaker and Meldrick Taylor would be one of the outstanding matchups that could be made. They're only separated by 1 weight division. Although I think it'll be a long time before it happens, and I think to make friends as good as those two fight, there'd have to be an awful lot of money on the line.
I couldn't agree more, and what we'll probably see before that would be Meldrick Taylor and Julio Cesar Chavez.
Which is the one that is supposed to happen early next year, and the one that I'm really looking forward to.
I'd like to see that myself.
The other fight that...
Pernell Whitaker hot-dogging a little bit. A little bit of you can't hit me, but I'll hit you.
And he just got hit with a right hook. What I was trying to make was the other fight that involves Pernell Whitaker is a fight with 130-pound champion and one of the top names in boxing, Azuma Nelson, who says he's going to move up and challenge Pernell, and that fight is scheduled for early next year as well.
We've moved inside the final minute of the 7th round. Jose Luis Ramirez just keeps pressing on. The results are the same. He's getting tagged in combinations, but really doesn't look much different than he did in the first or the second round.
He did land a right hook, as we said earlier this round. Pernell.
Well, that's called wanting your cake and eating it too.
That's right.
Pernell Whitaker, who's bombed Ramirez with at least 10 low blows, backs up with an "how dare you do that to me" look on his face.
What are you thinking of, Jose? And he got a warning from the referee to Ramirez.
A lot of upper body movement by Whitaker rather than leg movement to avoid the blows. Comes back with combination and scores. End of 7 and nothing's changed. We're at it in the 8th round at the Scope in Norfolk, Virginia. This bout is for the WBC and the IBF lightweight title. Whitaker in the black, Ramirez in the red and the white. I'm Dan Deerdorf. Alex Wallow is alongside, and we have been watching quite a display by Pernell Whitaker as he has just dominated Jose Luis Ramirez from the opening bell.
I thought in the last round that Ramirez got a little bit closer with some power punches, and in the corner, George Benton and Lou Duva said, "Don't get careless. Don't get into exchanges." And here you see Ramirez picking it up a little bit. There. Whitaker making a move that generally had Ramirez missing badly. That time he scored. Wasn't a hard punch. Didn't do any damage, but it did score.
Whitaker that time tried to counter. He missed with it.
Here you see Ace Morata, the cut man for Pernell Whitaker on the left. Lou Duva there, the white hair. George Benton, you can't see in your picture. On the other side, Lou Duva really says that he's the cheerleader. You hear him cheering. There's George Benton. He's the tactician. The man is much quieter, much less media savvy, but George Benton really is the man who prepares the tactics and prepares the skills.
And Benton was a great Philadelphia fighter in his own respect, wasn't he, Alex? Now it's Pernell Whitaker doing more of a backward movement, displaying some of his earlier styles, but good counter combination by Whitaker. Ramirez being a little more aggressive, a little more open when he's coming in, having to take some chances as we're in the 8th round.
Even the punches that Jose has landed have not yet been hard-run. The reasons are twofold. The Whitaker movement keeps Ramirez from getting set and getting leverage on his punches, and Whitaker counter punches so well that Jose just doesn't want to commit to the punches because he knows he's going to get wrapped coming right back.
Well, Ramirez, when you've been a pro for 16 years, as he has, he knows when he's reached the point in a fight where he needs a knockout to win. And Jose Luis Ramirez certainly knows he's at that point now.
And it's pretty early to be talking that way, but I just cannot imagine he either needs a knockout or some 2- and 3-point rounds. I mean, we're only in round 8, but he's got to be behind at least 10-9 one-point rounds on every scorecard.
Finally, another warning from Chris Wallison to Pernell Whitaker to get the punches up after another low blow. This is the end of round 8. Here we are, the beginning of the 9th round. Our Schlitz Malt Liquor Professional Boxing Series, our finale of the year. The much-awaited rematch between these two. They fought last year, March of 1988. Ramirez winning a very controversial decision. I think that option has been removed here today in Virginia. Pernell Whitaker, if you're just joining us from the beginning, has totally dominated Ramirez on our scorecard here at ringside, our unofficial scorecard. He's pitching a shutout.
There are not too many fighters in the world who would not be discouraged by the beating they've taken outside of a Jose Luis Ramirez. The fact that he's still trying, in the face of everything he's been through with the death of his trainer and manager just a couple of weeks ago, and everything he's been through in the ring today is just a testament to what we said about him at the top. He is a consummate professional.
I can't get over, Alex, how facially he just doesn't show any swelling, doesn't have any abrasions. I mean, what is his skin made of? I mean, to absorb the beating that he has taken from Pernell Whitaker today and look as good as he looks, I find just unbelievable.
And I guarantee you Pernell does too. You see it in his face. What do I have to do?
And that's what he has been doing all fight long, scoring in combination. A pair of southpaws fighting one another. You'd think that they might be the only type of fighter that knows how to deal with a southpaw, but keep in mind that every time they step in the ring, virtually every time, they fight a right-hander. Oh, and what a left by Whitaker.
Let's see what that did to his left hand. Let's see if his hand stood up to that test. He hasn't thrown too many straight lefts. Not that he's babying it. I don't think he needs it. But he has broken it twice. Let's see if he comes back with it. Because that was the kind of punch where he could re-injure it. I don't want to jinx him.
No, but you've got to bring it up. He has broken his left hand twice before.
Generally, he has hurt it when it's been an awkward angle, and that was a left hand right down the pipe. He's using it. Slapped with it then, but he's using it. Generally, when Pete has hurt his hand, when he isn't babying it, he's using it to the body where it doesn't hurt as much. That time he tried a number of punches to the head.
Again, a reminder, this fight is scheduled to go 12. A pair of titles, WBC, IBF, looking like they might land in Whitaker's corner. We're underway in the 10th. Oh, and Jose Luis Ramirez coming right out of his corner.
I don't know what Pernell's reaction was all about there.
I don't know that you could be human and not be a little frustrated if you're Whitaker, who has just landed virtually every punch he has on Ramirez and hasn't had much of an effect.
And he still got him in his face.
Other than to, I'm almost 1,000,000% positive, swayed the judges' scorecard.
Ramirez using 3 straight jabs there. He has to know he needs a knockout to win, but he also knows Whitaker's just too good to go in and land one isolated left hand. He's got to set it up with something if he's going to score a knockout punch.
Is this the time for Whitaker to take a round off?
Well, it depends on how he feels. He could take some time off the clock if he feels himself fading.
Oh, and a good left. That was a solid left from Whitaker, snapping Ramirez's head.
You see all the grease on Whitaker's face. A lump on his right cheekbone. Isn't close enough to the eye to present a problem. This is more than Pernell Whitaker from the first fight. Giving ground, backing up, scoring his punches, and getting out.
Only 5 years in age separate these two fighters, but 90 professional bouts separate them. Ramirez turning pro at the age of 14. And right now showing it.
See Whitaker get that left hand up. The Ramirez right hook came in,
so
just very subtly.
So natural. A couple of Ramirez jabs are getting in, but they're really not landing with a great deal of authority.
Whether that's instinctive defensive action by Whitaker, it's something he's worked hard on and learned in the gym, and it's probably a combination of both. You saw it there. He tucks that left hand right in there. Whenever his man gets in range to land that right hook, that left comes right up to protect the chin.
Pernell Whitaker here in the 10th, fighting as if he's got one eye on the clock. Another day at the office for the extremely talented Pernell Whitaker. Let's get it on in the 11th round. It's only scheduled for one more, scheduled for 12. Pernell Whitaker is the IBF lightweight champion. They're fighting for the vacant WBC title as well, vacated when Julio Cesar Chavez moved up. And there can't be any question that right now the only thing for Ramirez is a prayer and a knockout.
A lot of prayers. He just landed a right to Pernell Whitaker's chin. Pernell saw a look of disgust on his face that he got hit with that punch. Didn't have much effect. Again, the right gets home, but on Whitaker from Ramirez, but not much effect. Certainly not enough.
Ooh, Pernell attempting to load up on a couple.
And that is something that his corner does not want him to do. There is no need for it. His pride may be at stake here, but there's no reason to take that chance and load up.
And that's exactly what he did on that combination as well. Right now, Whitaker adopting the stance more of a headhunter than anything else.
I mean, it's possible that Pernell is saying to himself, hey, you know, I thought I won the first fight, too, and they stole it from me. I got to knock him out to make sure there's no decision so they can't rob me again. But it's tough to score when you're fighting, but I think Pernell has to know that he's won virtually every round on every scorecard.
Well, the way Ramirez has absorbed his blows, Alex, you wonder if Whitaker didn't go back to his corner and look at his gloves, wondering if they were filled with tissue paper. We'd like to alert our ABC stations that at the conclusion of this round, we're going to take a station break.
Well, it's not that he can't stand to watch, he's tired of watching the same thing.
Pernell Jr. acting like it's another day at the office for his dad. Oh, and Whitaker on the clutch, throwing a couple blows.
That was all right. I mean, that was not a foul, even though they touched gloves to acknowledge that it was, but there was no break called by the official there.
The crowd begins to chant, Pete, Pete.
Once again, another low blow by Whitaker. Once again, there's a warning.
Well, that's the third warning we've counted. Could have tossed in another half a dozen or so.
Whitaker's hands way down too far. Now, for the first time in the fight, he's pinned in the corner, clowning and showboating, and runs away with his back turned.
Slits Malt Liquor professional boxing will continue after this word from our ABC stations. We've just gotten started here in the 12th round. Pernell Whitaker comes out of his corner to a standing ovation by the crowd here in Norfolk. He is the franchise of this city. No professional football, no professional basketball, no hockey team. Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker is Norfolk, Hampton Roads, Virginia, on the professional scene. This is the 12th and final round for the WBC and the IBF lightweight titles. And Pernell Whitaker couldn't be in more control. Whitaker, the look of a very confident champion, Alex.
Jose Luis Ramirez, we said at the top, the consummate professional who would give everything he had. I think he's done that as he has to. Ooh, there. Caught Whitaker with a few punches again. Whitaker in the corner.
Ramirez attempting to put Whitaker back into the corner with a forearm, but Pernell Whitaker gets out much to the delight of the crowd. We move inside the final minute of this fight. Our scorecard at ringside. 11 matching 10-9s, all in favor of Whitaker.
Talk about total confidence. Just then Whitaker gestured over to his corner. They're yelling at him to jab, and he just said, it's all right, I'm in control, I'm all right. So the star of Pernell Whitaker continues to rise, and he continues to lay claim, Dan, to his role, to his position as one of the best fighters pound for pound in the world in any division. For Jose Luis Ramirez, this could well be the fight that he decides after the longest career of boxing today to let it go, to pack it in, to say, I've had my time is over, and thank you very much.
The crowd comes to their feet at the Scope in Norfolk. When we come back, we'll have the decision, plus we'll have George Foreman and Ron Lyle from 1976. Sweet Pea. All right, right now let's go up to the ring for the decision. We're going to have a temporary delay here as we don't have the scorecards in yet from all of the judges. Hard to imagine what would take so long to put these together as Pernell Whitaker dominates this fight from the beginning bell to the end. Jose Luis Ramirez. A brilliant 102-7 record coming in. And now let's go up to the ring if we could, and ring announcer Bruce Rader.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a unanimous decision. Judge Nathan scores 117 to 111. Judge O'Connor scores 120 to 109. Judge Dante scores 120 to 108. The winner